Hi, welcome to the Comfy Red Couch. My name is Tracy and I am your host. And today I spent my morning recording the podcast, and when I went to upload, unfortunately the 50 minutes of main video wouldn't transfer, so I'm now re-recording at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. So I'm going to try and make it really quick because I definitely want to get this podcast uploaded, but I'm going to pre-see it a lot compared to what I had this morning. And I'm also using my Canon, which doesn't do autofocus, and I can't see myself, so I don't know if I'm centered. So I hope the video quality is good. So otherwise I'm going to apologize for the podcast not being its normal self. But anyway, so my name is Tracy and I am your host. I am Tracy RR on Ravelry, and I am Comfy Red Couch on Instagram. And last night I did something I said I wasn't going to do, and that was to open a Ravelry group, and it is called the Comfy Red Couch, and I've done that, and I'm hoping that that will make the Spirit of Autumn knit along a little bit easier as well. So I think we'll transfer from doing the Instagram contest to over on Ravelry, and I've created a finished object thread, and hopefully that will make life a little bit easier. And so I was drinking tea out of my rainy day mug. I've now finished my tea off, although I've made myself another cup. But I don't have it here because it's over by the computer where I was getting very frustrated. So I'm just going to try and power through as much as I can today because, as I said, I want to get this uploaded. And so no tea time. And we're going to go straight into my favorite things. My sock this week, I got a tiny little bit done on my sock, and it's not worth sharing that much, but I do have my lovely Ghastly's bag, and inside my Ghastly's bag is a surprise party, and I've been working on this and just taking a break from the princess bag and the contents of that, which I will share in a little bit, but this one has been my happy place for last Monday. I spent my entire day knitting it, and also yesterday I spent most of my day doing this. So this will be released on Friday evening at the Indie Untangled event at Rhinebeck, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to share mine so shortly afterwards. And it is, I'm loving the colors and I'm loving the pattern, and it is bringing me to my happy place, so I'm excited to share this. But for now, it stays in the bag, sealed. So that is one project. The other project, this one is the Thorn in My Side. And if you've tuned in before, you know that this is my Scottish Thistles Nova Scotia shawl, which is driving me completely crazy, and I had hoped to have it done by this week. But unfortunately on Thursday, as I was knitting away, I had a bunch of stitches here. I had a bunch of stitches here, and my needle came apart, so I had a bunch of stitches right there. So I was about ready to pull out my hair. And when this is off the needles, I know it is going to be beautiful, but for now, pulling my hair out. So this is the Scottish Thistle shawl. It is really starting to look beautiful with the variegation, and there's also some beading that is starting to be put on near the bottom as well. So I'm about 16 rows from being finished, which is 16 rows too many for me at this point. But so Thursday night, after I had the needle come apart and lost a bunch of stitches and then spent an hour doing lace surgery, I decided I was going to take a bit of a break from it, so I haven't actually touched it since Thursday night. I'm hoping once I've got the podcast edited tonight, I'll do a little tiny bit on this, and I'll do a little bit on my happy place, and then I will hopefully get a little bit of knitting done today. And I have a new project that I started on Friday morning, and at work on Friday, instead of taking my sock like I normally do, I took this yarn and I am doing a Pebble Beach shawl, and I'm doing the medium size, and I am now at 10%. So I was happy to have a little bit of a diversion on Friday and actually be able to get some time in that I wasn't expecting. And I started it at 8 o'clock. I start work at 8:30, but I usually get there just before 8, and I sit from 8 till 8:30 and do a little bit of knitting. So I got it all cast on, and then lunch hour I was supervising an event, so I got a little bit more done during that, and I took lunch also on Friday, which I often don't do, so I got a little bit more done. And then Nathaniel had a play date, and I don't know what I was thinking, and so I was able to sit at the park while Nathaniel and his friend played, and then when I got home and waited for the pizza for the play date, I got to 10%, so I was really happy about that. So this has been a very relaxing knit for me to do when the princess shawl has been literally just driving me crazy. So these are my finished objects, works in progress, no finished objects. These are my favorite things projects right now. Okay, not so much my favorite thing, but, and as I said, no, it's a sockness. Okay, oh my gosh, I'm just like, I feel like I'm going, brrr. I'm trying to race through, after having 50 minutes of talking and video just completely disappear. It disappeared off the iPod. Somehow it is on Greg's iPad, but I can't seem to get it from the iPad onto the computer, and I just thought, you know what, let's start again. But as I said, I'm going to try power through, so please forgive me as I race through. I really want to get a podcast to you this week. So favorite things done, no tea because I drank it all, and we're going to look at some lovely things that arrived in the mail on brown paper packages this week. And in fact, some of these things arrived a few weeks ago, but I actually only opened them up this past week because I just needed I needed the time to fully appreciate, and I got a lot of hedgerow the past few weeks. I had ordered a bunch of the hedgerow skeins before I went on my yarn diet, and Jane sent some of them to me after the fact because I said just hold on to them and send them to me like at various times, and she did. But I may have broken my yarn diet a couple of times also with Jane's. But this is something I did buy at before my yarn diet started, and Jane threw in this lovely cute little hedgerow bag. This is a sweater. One day it will be a sweater. This is a sweater quantity of Glacier that I purchased, and it is lovely. It's got greens and pinks and blues and purples. And this is on a singles base, and it is so soft and squishy, and the colors are wonderful. So I have 4 skeins of Glacier in my cute little hedgerow bag. And other things that I picked up, I got this wonderful skein of Beach Hut. And who can resist that lovely shot of red with the light blue and the bright happiness? I also got some minis, and this purple and pink, that's the one that sealed the deal for me because it was just such a beautiful, beautiful, fun purple and pink colors. And so I did get these cute little minis, and I hadn't bought minis before from Jane, and I love them. And I've talked about Jane on the podcast before, so if you are new to the podcast, you will see I have a lot of hedgerow yarn here today because I love Jane's hedgerow yarn, and if you are returning, you know why I love Jane's yarn. Not only is it gorgeous yarn, but the presentation when you get it is beyond belief. So I broke my yarn diet a couple of weeks ago when Jane had some wonderful Christmas yarns, and this is a Christmas sparkle one of a kind, and there is an actual sparkle to it. I'm not sure whether the sparkle will show up on this camera because I can't see what's on the camera, so I don't know whether it's focusing, but this was a fun Christmas colorway that I saw it and I thought I need to have that. And another Christmas wonderful colorway that she has created is called Sleigh Bells, and this is Sleigh Bells on Sparkle, and just this green and red and even yellow. Just so wonderful, and it too is on a sparkle base. So this one is so super special, and I'm excited to knit this up into something wonderful. I'm not sure if I'll make socks. It would be nice in socks because sparkly socks are always fun, but I do love just the little shots of color that might be nice in a shawl. So time will tell what I decide to do. Now, a couple of weeks ago, before I went on my yarn diet, I ordered this gorgeous sock blank, and Jane had a few of them that were so pretty. I loved the purples and the light blues in it, and Isaac saw this and he thought I should actually just wear it as a shawl, and I'm almost inclined to agree with him because it is just wonderful. I had to explain that you unravel it to Isaac, but it would be a great shawl, and it's so soft and just really, really lovely. So, what to do? And just look at those wonderful colors inside. So, I don't want to unravel it yet because it's just so nicely wound up and just gorgeous, gorgeous sparkly sock blank. And the other day when I did open the mail, today's not been such a happy day having everything crash, but this is Happy Day yarn, and this makes everything okay. Look at those. This has not been a good day for podcasting. Battery's about to run out on this, so where I had started to slowly relax and calm down, yeah, that's not going to happen. I want to show you something absolutely amazing before the battery runs out, and I may have to cut this week's podcast short. The next thing I have is from the Cauldron of Colors, and this is for our Spirit of Autumn Knit Along. And this is one of the wonderful prizes that we have if you want to join in. And Spirit of Autumn Knit Along is running from October 1st until the 20th of December, and you can knit an oracle shawl or an oracle half pie, or you can also choose to knit a magically themed shawl that is 2 to 3 skeins. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of those come up. And as I mentioned, I opened a Ravelry group with a couple of threads on the knit along, and there's a chat thread and there's a finished object thread, so I'm really hoping that people will start participating and putting pictures up of yarn and lots of fun things. So this will be one of the prizes. One of the other prizes, and I forgot to mention last week, was is a little bobbins bag, and then the other one is a skein of yarn that I've ordered from Tracy of Nora George, and it's for the Boo Radley October Great Characters of Literature. So that will be coming when she gets back from her holiday and dyes it up and sends it my way. So we've got plenty of time, but I just thought I would share this one here. And also from Cauldron of Colors, I ordered 2 wonderful skeins of yarn. And this is Donegal Nep, and this one is called The Pond, and just purples and peaches, just really, really lovely. And I got it to go with this one, and it goes so well that I really think these 2 skeins have to be married soon because they are so beautiful. And this is this gorgeous purple, and it is called The Paradox. And how my paradox is how these 2 stayed in the shop as long as they did, I'll never know, but they are mine and they smell wonderful. So, so nice. I wanted to also share a couple more things I got from Hedgerow, but I got distracted when my camera clicked. These were the things that made me break my yarn diet, and this absolute gorgeous skein is called Tapestry, and there's this wonderful little spot of color there that just captured my heart. And this one right here is Dried Hydrangea, and just it's got sparkle and just wonderful, wonderful colors. So those are things that made it into my mailbox, if not this week, the past few weeks. I've been trying to practice for these advent calendars that will be heading my way as well, that I've got to practice restraint. So you might as well start with practicing not opening yarn for too long. So these are some wonderful things from Brown Paper Packages, and I want to quickly move on to the Spirit of Autumn Knit Along. The Spirit of Autumn Knit Along is still continuing. It's running from October 1st until December 20th, and it is either the Oracle shawl, or if you want to wait until November 1st, the Oracle half pie, or a magically themed 2 to 3 skein shawl. If you have started a project and you were less than 25% done before the start date, you are welcome to join in, and you can also double dip as well. I mentioned the prizes in my Brown Paper Packages segment. The prizes are a little bobbins bag, or there are also 2 wonderful skeins of hand-dyed yarn that are going to be able to be won by 3 lucky participants. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about the Spirit of Autumn Knit Along. I have not even touched my project this week. It was just such a busy week trying to get the Princess project done and also working on my surprise party. So it's been a busy knitting week, and I think it'll continue that way for a little bit, so you won't see a lot of progress in the next little bit, but that's also why I gave it such a long time, because I knew that would be happening. In other knitting news, we do have KnitVent coming up in November, and I'm really excited to start knitting those projects, and I might even have a bit of a keeping up with the curious knit along happen in our Ravelry thread, just to share, and talking about it of course on the podcast, just to share the progress. KnitVent is always a lot of fun. It's a series of patterns that are released once a week for 6 weeks, and there's always lots of variety: hats, shawls, mitts, cowls, a lot of wintry type things, and so a lot of fun to try and keep up with that, and also to have some projects that are great for maybe gifts or for yourself sometimes too. So I'm looking forward to that, and will definitely be sharing my progress with all of those on the podcast. This week is a whirlwind podcast because I just want to edit and upload, and unfortunately this is not the nice relaxed podcast I'm used to having, where I sit down on Sunday morning and I podcast without any issues. Today, losing 50 minutes plus of video just has thrown me for a loop and has put me in panic mode. The fact that I'm now also using a camera with low battery does not help. So for bits and bobs, I'm going to pull recordings that I made earlier and I'll pop them in. You can tell my hair is a little different in those ones. Like video editing and shooting, you'll see the differences between now and then. And just remember that today's podcast is just all over because the best laid plans sometimes don't go as well as we would like. Kind of like when I said last week that I wanted this off the needles by this week. Didn't happen. So anyway, I am going to close this portion of the podcast off, and I will go back to previously recorded material where I will do my so long farewells, my bits and bobs, and then of course my fun epilogue. That's all recorded, but the main crux of everything, with all of my yarn and with all of my projects, somewhere lost in cyberspace. Yeah, sometimes that's how it goes. Anyway, let's move on to that portion through bits and bobs. Time for bits and bobs. Crazy busy week this week. So, hi Scout. You gonna say hello? You gonna say hello? Let everybody see how beautiful you are. So for anyone who's new to the podcast, this is Scout. Our cat Tasha is lying on the ground just right there, but you can't see her unfortunately. But Scout likes to come up and lie behind me on the comfy red couch when I knit, when I podcast, when I'm here. So she's Lovely, lovely. And bits and bobs this week. It was busy, as always, and never enough time to knit. But I try my best, row by row, and get what I can done. I am just, I better have this princess thing off the needles by next podcast. Even if it's not blocked, at least off the needles, because it is just sucking the life out of me. And yeah, that's knitting. Yesterday I decided that I was going to knit all day, and I decided I was going to have a pajama day. So I stayed in my pajamas and I knit all day long. At one point I thought to myself I should probably go out, but I just wanted to stay in my comfy pajamas, so that's what I did. Today I'm hoping to pop out between finishing filming and editing the podcast just for a little bit, get outside for a little bit, but otherwise tonight editing and lots of knitting on the surprise party, and it would be nice if I could get 1 or 2 rows done on the princess shawl. But otherwise, everything's going. It's October. It's busy. Not much exciting things for bits and bobs. You know what? I've decided I am not doing Christmas gift knitting for people unless it is a project that maybe I'm doing for KnitVent or something that I've already done, but I am not going to say I'm going to make like hats for everybody. Last year I knit for my coworkers. I made them hats and mitts, and I used last year's KnitVent and the year before's KnitVent to do some hat patterns. This year I'm not doing it. If it's a pattern that I've done for KnitVent, or it's something that maybe I have knit and I haven't decided who I'm going to gift it for, and I feel that the person I want to gift that knit wear to is knit worthy, I might give them something I have knit, but I am not actually going to specifically Christmas knit for people this year. I'm going to do some socks for myself, and so I think it's going to be gift certificates all around, because I just, no, not doing it, just not doing it. And that's I decided that I just want to do some knitting, for some selfish knitting. So that's going to be my Christmas gift to myself. That and some pink hazel bags I may have just purchased. I'll give it to my husband to give to me. What else did I do this week? What a boring week I must have had. I knit all week long. Knit, work, repeat. Knit, work, repeat. Yeah, it was just a busy week. As I mentioned, I did open a group on Ravelry. It is my Ravelry 5th birthday on the 18th, so that's coming up in the next few days. So I guess to celebrate, I opened a group, and I hope you'll join in and participate with me. And I hope I can be a little bit more present. I know I've been just trying to catch up with Instagram. I let it go for a couple of days because I was so busy trying to get the knitting done. And yeah, I spent over an hour just flipping through the past few days. I don't even think I got that far back. And it drives me nuts. And maybe I hope I'm not the only one, but I'll put a lovely little I like this heart on someone's post, and I'll go back like a day later and I'll see the same thing, but my heart's not there. I put it there. I don't know what's going on. So I don't like the fact that Instagram isn't linear. It's I miss so many things sometimes because it goes back 2 days when I thought I had already covered that, but and then as I said, I've liked something, but then it comes back saying I hadn't. But it's just so complicated. So I hope the Ravelry group doesn't take as much of my mental energy as Instagram has been lately. So there is so much I want to get done over the next couple of months, but at this point I've got to take each project as I can, and row by row. And I think that's all I've got for bits and bobs this week. Thank you so much for joining me on the Comfy Red Couch this week. I hope that you've had a chance to enjoy some quiet time, have a bit of a relax, enjoy that lovely beverage. Mine is almost gone and definitely cold at this point. But it's been nice having a chat with you today, and I hope that you will enjoy your week ahead. Remember to breathe. Take those rows of knitting row by row. Yes, that's self-talk. Row by row, row by row. And I hope you have a lovely week ahead, and I hope to see you next week on the Comfy Red Couch. Bye. Sometimes I think my life is very monotonous. Work, sleep, knit, eat, repeat. Over and over again. But then every once in a while, there is this little ray of sunshine, and work, eat, sleep, knit, repeat turns into something absolutely glorious. And that is Yarn Update. This is how I get myself in trouble.